The senator from Harrisonburg, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, rise to say thank you to my friend, the senior senator from Fairfax County. I appreciated his comments yesterday, and I learned something from it. I learned that he is indeed a friend in need. He is a friend who I found needs some help in understanding and figuring out how exactly to go about opposing a budget. And I want to help him. I want him to know that this friend is here for him. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the senior senator from Fairfax is right in that I do have some experience in opposing budgets. And he pointed to the vote in 2004, and I would point out that senior senator and others wanted to raise our taxes in 2004, and indeed did. And that was a budget that I did vote against. And in 2006, he wanted to raise our taxes again. And indeed I did vote against that budget in 2006 as well. 2008, unfortunately, I was in a position of having to vote against that budget too. And I suspect that everybody in this room, in retrospect, would agree with at least my reason for voting against it, and that is that we took too much money out of the retirement accounts of our state employees, and we've been paying the price ever since. Now, I did vote against those budgets where we failed to adjourn on time. And upon reflection, I spent a little bit of time last night thinking about some tips and guidance that I might be able to provide to the senior senator from Fairfax and maybe to some other members on the other side of the aisle. Number one, I would suggest that you find something to support. In 2004 and 2006, I voted against our Senate budget, but I voted for the House budget in both of those years because I thought that was closer to my views. This year, unfortunately, Senate Democrats voted against every budget that we saw. Second tip is identify something that you actually disagree with in the budget. And then say something about it, or better yet, vote against it. Now, I think back to those years that were cited, 2004, 2006, and there were a handful of us, including a guy named Bill Bowling, another guy named Ken Cuccinelli, and a number of others who repeatedly, and I must say much to the chagrin of some of my colleagues even on my side of the aisle, spoke to and pulled out those tax hikes that were in the budgets and voted no on those items that we disagreed with. Now, the third pointer that I would provide is that if you can find something in the budget that you actually disagree with, consider maybe offering an amendment to actually correct it. Well, finally, the last suggestion or tip that I might have maybe is more apropos to the stage that we're in, and I would suggest that maybe you consider breaking ranks with members of your caucus. And I would say, on that regard, trust me, it isn't the end of the world. It may actually, you find, be in the best interest of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and you may, believe it or not, actually be rewarded for standing up for your beliefs, even when it runs contrary to party discipline. And for those items, I suggest maybe you confer with Mr. President or Mr. Attorney General. You know, in sum, you guys have it all wrong. And that, I suspect, is why you were so perplexed with my comments yesterday. I did oppose the tax increases proposed in 2004 and 2006, but you guys supported every single component of the 2012 budget and actually voted against it I spoke out against parts of the budgets that I objected to before I voted against them. But this year, you guys sat silently in your seats and then voted against it. The reasons for my objections actually, believe it or not, pertain to the contents of the budget. If I'm to believe newspaper reports and correspondence from members on that side of the aisle, yours relate to organization of the Senate after an election in which Republicans garnered nearly 60% of the vote statewide, and that the Democrats won 20 seats with 40% of the vote, I guess, is a salute to the redistricting process, for which I suppose I salute you. Although I voted against the Senate budgets in those years, I voted in favor of the House budgets, and I spent a lot of time and a lot of effort encouraging members of colleagues of mine to move towards another position, one in which we would actually yield a budget on time and be able to perform our obligations to the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia. You voted against both the House and the Senate budgets. I bucked the wishes of my caucus in opposing the budget supported by my party's leadership and urged that they accept a different position. You, thus far, have been able to successfully enforce party discipline, preventing your members from voting for a budget that they clearly have no problem with. In sum, take it from me. Follow these tips. If you don't believe me, I suspect that the Lieutenant Governor or the Attorney General, they may make themselves available to talk to you about some of these tips as well. Friends, don't let friends botch bad budget votes. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And in closing, I just want to thank the minority leader for his apparent endorsement for some office that I might be able to seek. Some might call it an indictment, but considering the context and the manner in which it was tendered, I'll take it. I'll wear that one as a badge of honor. Mr. President, members of the Senate, I thank you.